Do you remember when Deborah Messing was Mary Magdalene? Was it Christian Bale? Who was she? Or no, it couldn't have been.
I don't remember.
It couldn't have been. Was it a Fiennes, maybe?
I don't know. Oh, Joseph.
It's okay. They put a bindi on her.
That's worse.
Now she's not white.
What in the 1998 Gwen Stefani?
That eyeliner.
Woof. I mean, like, the only thing I can say to, like, give it any... That's Jeremy Sisto.
Oh, Jeremy Sisto, okay. Gary Oldman was Pontius Pilate. And Jacqueline Bisset was Mary the Mother.
Oh.
We need to cover this for Easter.
No.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching The White Lotus, Season 2, Episode 1.
Ciao.
I'm glad we decided to do this.
Yeah.
We're a week late with the first one, but we're going to be covering the rest of it. I was spent last week.
We had a lot of Cabinet of Curiosities, and it really took it out of us.
The first season was a big hit, and then it kind of swept, I guess. It won Emmys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just giving me, I was like, there's no way that they're going to recapture Lightning in the Bottle. And the thing is, having only seen the first episode, I sort of think the mystery aspect is, well...
secondary.
It's definitely secondary. I started to say whatever, and that's not true. I think that there should be a mysterious element, but I don't think every season needs to open up with a murder and then try and go the whole series figuring out who's dead and how and why.
I mean, it could literally be anybody, and they all deserve it. Okay, I'll tell you who doesn't deserve it. Tanya. Daphne.
We haven't seen enough of her yet.
Portia. And Mia, the one who's not a prostitute. So far, they don't deserve it. Everyone else at a moment's notice, and I'd be fine.
Albie hasn't done anything yet.
That's true. He's not so bad. And also, you're right about Daphne, because she's definitely giving big Republican wife energy. But I have such a soft spot for Megan Fahey because I really, really liked the Bold Type.
So the point that I'm getting at is that for me, the first season, and I have reason to believe the second season too, can just be a delicious character study.
Yeah.
I find something interesting about just watching characters interact. There doesn't necessarily, for me, there doesn't necessarily have to be some grand conclusion or grand statement.
I agree.
Especially with the atmosphere being right and with the premise of the show sort of taking privileged Americans. I started to say white people, but they're privileged Americans, privileged white people in that regard, and plopping them in these exotic locales and sort of watching... And frankly, the vacation element, because it's like when you go on vacation, it's sort of a liminal space.
Yeah. And everyone's a little different on vacation than they are in the real world.
If you have good writers and good actors, it could turn into an institution. Because we do have Jennifer Coolidge back. I am happy about that. I would like for her to be a feature of the show. However, I don't think that the show needs her every single time.
Yeah.
I think the premise is enough. I think it could take on sort of like a Agatha Christie or like a...
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I am very impressed with this slate of people, with this cast.
Yeah.
I like that a lot of them, many of them are people without it feeling stunty in a way that I loved Big Little Lies. Loved Big Little Lies. But there was a element of stunt bringing in Meryl Streep.
That's a lot of fucking broads.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these people, I think I am familiar with them enough that they intrigue me and pull me into it, but I can still get lost in the characters in the show.
Yeah.
And I'm not watching famous actor/actress come in to stunt cast season 2.
Yeah. We also haven't met Tom Hollander's character yet, and I love him. He's a lot of fun.
So this White Lotus, so White Lotus is apparently a type of a chain. It seems like a upscale sandals, although isn't sandals relatively?
I don't know that. I guess maybe it is all inclusive. Yeah,
no, it's very upscale.
It's way nicer than sandals. Okay. It's like a Grand Bohemian style thing, but it does appear to be all inclusive.
And this one is in Sicily, and just quite literally, the moment the credits started, and they were different but the same, I was like, okay, no, I'm in.
It's like sex this time. It's not like predatory, like but it's like everybody's.
It's just sex. Yeah. It just devolves into a like Greco-Roman disco orgy because the music goes to like a full discotheque place, and there's bestiality and all of that stuff. I mean, when in Rome. But I'm super, super into it. We have Valentina and Rocco.
Rocco.
Those are the two sort of employees. I am having fun with them already.
Yeah.
I love Valentina.
Well, and Rocco seems to like not give as much of a shit, but like
he's giving me panicky gay assistant.
Yeah, a little, yeah. Valentina wore an amazing pink suit the whole first episode.
All of the clothes and colors so far, it's very, very lush, very gorgeous. So I'm very into her. And I actually like that all of their stuff is in Italian, that the Italians are speaking Italian. Because we do have two women of the night. Yeah. Two sex workers. At least one in Lucy.
Lucy, that's right. Lucia. And then Mia is her friend who's like along for the ride.
Accomplice.
Yeah.
Lucia is so fucking hot.
I think Mia
looks like Dakota Johnson.
Oh, I like Dakota Johnson. I think Mia's really pretty. You're right that Lucia is hot, but
so hot.
Her last name is Tabasco.
She's so hot. I can't. I'm gonna say it so many times. And the way her nose, her hair, the way she had the little flippy bang and the flippy, and the boobs in that red dress.
That red dress was so tacky.
Oh my God. I just love when she did Mia's makeup and Mia was like, I look like a whore. And she's like, exactly. And I love this like comedy of errors that, because you get the sense that this isn't the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
So they're just the bane of Valentina's existence.
It was a very like noises off, upstairs, downstairs type of thing where they just kept trying to sneak into the hotel.
You leave the door open long enough, the whores get in. It's sort of...
It was very funny.
And I'm sort of like, you know what? I mean, maybe there could be a symbiotic.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of thing though that like if the really high roller guests realize there are prostitutes, then they're gonna be like,
maybe. I understand. I'm just saying we're sex positive and sex work positive, and you know, she was making good money, and I'm all for it. So we do have Tanya, and she's here with her assistant Portia. I was getting at first that maybe Portia was like related to her, like a niece or something, but I guess it is just assistant.
But Greg is like very anti-Portia in a way that I'm not.
I don't know what Greg is doing.
I think now that they're married, he's like got his meal ticket and he's just being a dick. And he's obviously cheating.
Okay.
So or he's like lost money or something. Whatever that phone call was.
Because I was like, I thought he had money too, but
I don't think so. I mean,
Black Lives Matter doesn't pay all that much.
Well, I don't think that wasn't what it was, right? It was like the Bureau of Land Management. I don't think he was like
that makes more sense.
Poor.
No, well, he's not the White Lotus.
Yeah, but I don't think like we find out in this episode she has $500 million.
Because we didn't know the first time.
Yeah, so I think that like she is his meal ticket. Like
she's also been upgraded to petal class. And she was excited.
Blossom. She was a petal, and now she's like a blossom.
And she was excited about that. Yeah. She's just so... she's so sad and lame.
I think one of my favorite things about this show is her performance, because she obviously knows that something's wrong. Because every time she interacts with him...
She's not a sap.
She's not a sap. I think she's just like actively trying to ignore it. And it also goes with the like thing that Aubrey Plaza's character said, where it's like, if you're rich enough for long enough, does your brain just atrophy? And I'm like, I think she obviously emotionally gets that something's going on with him, and he's being like clocking how many macaroons she eats and the panna cotta at dinner,
but also
and
gaslighting her.
Yeah.
Because he hid the macaroons.
Yeah.
And then blamed her for it.
I don't like him.
No.
I kind of liked him in season one. I don't like him anymore.
And that's just like...
She also doesn't deserve it. Like, maybe she's, like, shallow and insipid, but, like, she doesn't deserve to get taken advantage of by this guy who's, like, not better than her.
That is sort of my favorite part of the show, is I think, as you just did, I think it's easy for people to come in and be like, they're all trash, like, they're all terrible. And it's like, yes, we are largely dealing with flawed people.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the way that they're not comically or cartoonishly evil.
Sure.
Like, there was just, we'll get to them in a second, but there was a moment between Daphne and
Cameron.
Because we sort of meet Harper and Ethan as the more relatable, or like the John Everyman characters.
Even though she's a lawyer and he's just like sold his company for buttloads of money.
But we're dealing with Olympians here, so it's like they're like, but so they're sort of positioned as the more relatable, like the good guys to Daphne and Cameron's bad guys. But then there's moments where they're just sort of being terrible, and you genuinely see Daphne and Cameron connect over it, and just to see them, because obviously he's cheating, like obviously he's a dog, he's a scumbag, yada yada.
Yeah. And he's trying to cheat with his college friend's wife.
So do we think that's what it... I mean, I know he did it on purpose, but do we think that he was actually trying to...
Because he winked at her on the boat, too.
He did. Just for funsies? Because I can't imagine that he's actually...
I don't know. He's tied down with an impossibly hot wife and 2 kids.
Well, because I'm sort of in the place where I'm sort of like, who's to say Daphne doesn't know or care?
That could be.
And
yeah,
because they actually seemed on 3 separate occasions to have a genuine connection.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with wealth and beauty and power, all 3 of those things combined, adultery is sort of a given.
Yeah, like, what are we...
Do you know what I mean?
What are we doing? Also, I would like to make an amendment to what you said, because Harper and Ethan aren't terrible. Harper is terrible. Aubrey Plaza is
she's not terrible. Well,
she's terrible.
You're doing it again. There are layers to these onions.
Okay, I'm not saying she's totally out of line with some of the stuff, but it's like that conversation about... Why does everybody give a shit what everybody's eating? Stop it. Stop commenting on what your spouse is eating. What difference does it make to you if your husband orders the fish?
Because they were sharing it.
Why?
That was the opening.
No, I understand, but why? That's insane. Order your own dinner. Ridiculous.
I agree with you, but because I think that's what Daphne was like. Oh man, is she overbearing?
Yeah.
In that.
Oh yeah. That look that they shared. That's exactly what that was.
I don't know. I really like Aubrey Plaza. I just said this yesterday because we were recording our top 10 favorite movies. It's a Patreon exclusive. Join our Patreon.
Join our Patreon.
So I literally just had this conversation there, but she strikes you as the type of person who would be like a one-trick pony. Like she does one thing. She's weird. She's dark and weird, and that's it.
That's not it.
She does similar things. Like she's not... I feel like you don't ever completely lose her, but it's very Janice Ian.
Oh,
Lizzie Kaplan.
Lizzie Kaplan.
It's very Lizzie Kaplan, where it's like you can easily peg her as only one thing.
Yeah.
But she's slightly more versatile than you would imagine.
There are definitely layers there, because like you never even did watch Masters of Sex,
No.
and she's incredible on that. And the same, I mentioned it in our thing too, but like Aubrey Plaza's in this movie called Black Bear with Christopher Abbott, which is unbelievable. It's so weird and bizarre, but she is incredible in it.
Well, even just the changing scene where Cameron,
Theo James Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron, where he like takes off his pants, the way that Aubrey acts the scene, because she a little bit goes caveman SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But she also looks like she goes back.
Yeah.
Like she looks twice. and then she's mad, but then she also maybe is like curious.
a little flattered,
like,
but
I
like
don't, it was very.
yeah.
She did a lot with a very straight face. I was considering that that's the penis scene. I watched it more than once, not for in watching the GIF, I was able to survey.
Yeah, okay.
It was fake. I don't know why. It didn't need to be fake.
Maybe just so it hangs down that low when it. But
well, he said they filmed it several times. He said there were different versions.
Yeah.
And one felt too like, because I mean, if he was like, that would be too much.
Well, because that's the thing for me is it's like then just change facing her. You don't have to make it gross.
No, but that's what I
just
mean
change
because
facing her.
I think that's too obvious though. Because
pretty fucking obvious
to a woman. Because the only way that I know it was for sure deliberate is because he steps into frame.
Yeah.
He wasn't reflecting in the mirror, and then he steps in.
You're totally right that it's obvious to a woman because she tells Ethan, and he's like, it's fine. And I was like, no, it's not fine. What the fuck?
Well, and I mean, different people have different boundaries. Like,
yeah, but if you don't know the other person's boundary, don't whip your dick out in front of them.
I know. But anyways, my point was I just wanted to make a PSA that it's like we don't need the size of the penis is not and should not be the issue. I would much rather just a normal Theo James penis.
I don't think he would.
Diggler-esque. Well, he did in The Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh, that's right. I don't really like
What
him.
is your issue with him? Because I think he's good in this.
He's good in this so far. I have so I haven't even watched the show. I haven't even watched Sanditon, but he pulled a Regé-Jean page and was like, I like where the story ended, so I'm not coming back. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, I don't know. It just annoys me. It's shit like that annoys me. And I swear to God, I think it's girls like 5 to 10 years younger than me think he is like the cat's pajamas. And I think he is just a white dude.
Oh, I think he's hot. I think he's in between. I'm in between.
Okay.
I don't think he's the cat's pajamas. He's maybe the cat's left slipper.
And I don't think he's ugly. He's clearly a very objectively handsome man. He does nothing for me. It's interesting being on the other side of attraction
this, because we have this dynamic with like, because I feel this way with George Clooney.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I can absolutely identify that he's handsome. Nothing.
I would ruin my credit score for George Clooney.
I wouldn't do that for Theo James, but no, I'm way more. I find him way more appealing than you do.
No, I'm just, and also, this is not anything he can help, but I don't know if they drew his veins on in this. They are so dark under his skin. I liked it,
and you were like, normally you would be into something weird like that, but with this, you were like, further evidence that he's nothing. I'm enjoying it, and I'm also a little bit here for, going back to Aubrey Plaza for a second, I'm also a little bit here for hot piece Aubrey Plaza. We don't get it a ton, but we do get it sometimes, and it was cute. Her husband, Ethan, is the cutest, though. Yeah, I'm very curious. He is way too naive. He is playing a different game than the other three of them are playing.
He's super naive, and he is out of his league.
Oh.
Especially because at one point Cameron said he was the original incel.
Yeah.
Like in college.
Because that's not what that means.
Well.
Because that an incel, it's self-appointed.
Well, sure.
What Cameron meant to say is that he was a loser who managed to get a kind of decent wife.
Yeah. Like a physically decent wife. She seems emotionally terrible.
I don't know. The champagne thing was a lot when he was like, just fucking hold it.
Yeah, they want to do a toast. It's so ridiculous.
I know there was more with them and Tanya and Greg, but I'm gonna move on to the DeGrazzo.
Yeah.
DeGrazzo.
Yeah. I'm not good at my Italian.
He put flourish on it, but it's F. Murray Abraham, Michael
Imperioli. And Adam DeMarco.
Todd from Magicians fame. I am so happy to see him in something.
Fucking Todd.
Because he wasn't even like, he was like a secondary character. But
He was in that show, The Order, that we never kept watching.
Oh, was he? Okay, yeah. Okay. They are in Italy so Bert is F. Murray Abraham.
It's like his grandmother's hometown.
Uh-huh.
So they're trying to go there, but then also Dominic, the father, is like estranged from his wife, Laura Dern, voiced beautifully by Laura Dern. She was shrieking at him. It was incredible. And somehow Albie came along, but is also pissed at him, and he's like,
but only through Laura Dern. We haven't seen.
No, Albie. He was a little pissed when he was like, "Why don't you take your grandpa if you think he's got like a concussion? Because I have to work, and like LA is still gonna be like blah 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 blah." And because he was meeting with the prostitute, and so I don't know. And F. Murray Abraham is very addled and just farting everywhere. It's very funny.
And hitting on
on every single woman, yeah.
All of the ladies. Was it Isabel? I think Isabella. I think she might be a little bit on the show.
Which one's Isabella? Oh, the
other.
Yeah.
Albie was giving me gay vibes, but I guess that was just the sensitive.
Yeah, well, because he was hitting on Portia a little.
I was thinking she was perceiving it, that he was hitting on her. I think he was just being nice, and sometimes gay guys are like, oh, like a nice girl that I could be friends with. And the girl's like, oh, this cute guy is flirting with me. And that's what I was thinking at first. But then by the end, I was like, maybe not. Maybe I'm just projecting that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it feels like we need a gay somewhere.
Well, I mean, everybody on The Magicians was a little gay. So that's why I think it's coming through. That's
why he feels queer-coded.
Yeah.
There are giant ceramic heads everywhere.
Because of some old myth.
Testia de Moro.
Yeah.
And it was like a husband cheated on a wife and she cut his head off.
Yeah. So I think a husband is the body in the ocean.
It's the head. It's the presumably headless body in the ocean. And then Tanya, she was having a very labored sex scene with Greg, and she disassociated.
Yeah.
And started freaking out and like pushing him off her.
It was
and
hilarious.
She said she saw a bunch of men with effeminate hairstyles. And then when she saw him, he had shark eyes, which I mean, kind of.
Yeah, he kind of has shark eyes.
He's also super anti-Portia. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, but there's no reasoning why so far. Unless maybe Portia knows something about what he's doing.
I don't know. I caught a glimpse of like inside the episode, and it was just Jennifer and Haley sort of talking about their characters. And there weren't any spoilers, but the way they were phrasing things, like they were talking about them being like codependent. And I was sort of like, okay.
The couple or her and Portia?
Tanya and Portia.
Oh, okay.
And I was sort of like, I hadn't fully gotten that from the first episode, but.
Well, and then Portia was on the phone with her friend Sarah and like complaining about her job and how if she had $500 million, she'd just be enjoying life, and like they're both just miserable. And yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying the cast of characters so far.
I'm very intrigued, and I kind of can't wait. And I did catch while you were putting your makeup on, I caught the glimpse of this season on the White Lotus, and it feels like we go to some vistas. There's some stuff.
I do love a good Italian vista.
They pair the girls up. They pair Harper and Daphne up.
Yeah,
and I'm all in. Yeah. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be fun. I want rich people behaving badly.
I mean, I think that's exactly what we're gonna get.
So okay, I think
you're in luck.
This was episode 1. We will most likely, hopefully, have the rest of them to you the same night.
Yeah,
later that night. And like and subscribe. And we have a website where you can check out all of the back catalog and. soimwatching.com, and we have a Cashapp and a Venmo and a Patreon where we do bonus content, and check us out and hit us up and thumbs up and like.